Now, waiting for Facebook to tell me that we're actually live. And there we go. All right, my name is Travis. This is Oscar Mike Radio with a special assignment, special mission. We're Oscar Mike mission in flight, and tonight is no exception. A couple days ago, I'm doing my thing in my do, and Keith Hayes calls me up and says, "Hey, I want you to meet another Keith." So I'm like, "Yeah, there's definitely more than two Keiths in the world, but okay." And he told me about Keith Holland, who is a founder and CEO of Joint Task Force K9s. Jeremy Daniels, Elsa checking in tonight. Thank you all. And Keith Holland has a very special story, a very special mission focus with dogs. Keith, welcome to the Oscar Mike Radio.
Hey, Travis, thank you very much for having us out here. Keith, thank you for making this link and making all this happen. We do appreciate you guys for having us on. But yeah, like you were saying, hey, I set this organization up in June of 2022, and we provide canine therapy classes, number one, to both active and veterans and law enforcement as well, both active and inactive. And then our secondary mission of that is to provide service dogs out of those canine therapy classes to our nation's heroes, and that's both veterans and officers as well. And it's completely free of charge. Doesn't cost them a thing. I fly them down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, to do all the therapy and to do all the classes involved with getting a service dog, to include bringing a family member down in as well, so they can be on the same sheet of music as their loved one that's receiving the dog. And then we don't have any issues with nobody knowing how to take care of the dog if that person needs to be in surgery or something and can't manage the dog. So we get the whole family involved. But it doesn't cost them a dime. We cover all their flights, all their food, all their travel, and all their lodging. And we do it because I lived it. I was medically retired back in 2016. Um, I spent 18 and a half years
Wow.
in service, 3.5 as a military police, and then 15 as a Green Beret. And
We we got Joey Laswell checking in from Memphis. Hey Joey, how are you doing? So we're truly nationwide tonight. One of the things, uh, Keith, that I noticed throughout, looking you up and learning about you is, man, your faith is really core to your mission and what you do as a veteran. Can you just describe that to me, because it's really special, and I really, respect what you're doing.
yes, sir. So for one, we're a faith-based organization. God saved my life, and in many ways, in one way, I had a suicide attempt while on active duty, and that's why they medically retired me. And God saved me from that, from making that happen. And 3 years later, God saved me again through my dog, and that's what made me want to stand this up. And so we don't push it down people's throat, but we do let people know that he will heal and can heal. And we use these dogs to do that, and we believe he gives us these dogs to do it. If you spell dog backwards, it's God, and that's how we feel. So
Well,
they see that dimension, we don't.
I appreciate you talking so openly about that, because sometimes it's missed in all the marketing speak and stuff that people have to do. So I appreciate you sharing like that. What is it about a dog that heals? People have studied it, people have written books about it, but from the beginning of time until now, dogs truly are a man's best friends, aren't they?
They truly are. We believe they're a gift from God directly to help us through life. We just need to learn how to communicate with them and listen, and they can help guide us uh, through that world we don't see, that spiritual, that evil and good world. We just got to learn to communicate with them. Um, but they heal regardless if they're trained or not. Every person you talk to that has a dog, their dog does something for them. So we take it just a step farther and make sure we can save our veterans from committing suicide. That's our number one goal. And we do that, saving lives one dog at a time.
So one thing I want to clarify is, a lot of people hear like emotional support dog and then PTS dog or service dog. Is there a difference between the two?
Yeah, there is. And the biggest difference overall is just a training involved with dogs, right? The different levels. Like you have your emotional support, which necessarily don't have a whole lot of training, but is just an obedient dog that does support somebody on a mental, stable kind of lifestyle, right? And our dogs do the same thing, but our dogs also have that additional training. So a service dog is a dog that's got the medical training side of it, and usually to either prevent a medical something happening, or be there as a relief factor after that medical event. Like for example, our dogs are trained to prevent PTSD attacks. So I train them on cortisol levels of their handler, that stress hormone. So our dogs will come in, they'll get petting as soon as you stress levels go up, before we even recognize it. When you pet them, stress levels go down. You don't have a PTSD attack, which means you're not self-medicating and you're not trying to commit suicide.
Well, that's amazing. So one of our viewers says, Elsa from Massachusetts says her dog can understand America's Sign Language, and the dog is there and recognizes these things. What goes into training a dog to be that proficient, Keith?
So it takes me about 2 months to actually train the dog in the scent work, and then it takes an active participation of the recipient to get me the cortisol samples that I need, because I have them collected at 3 different times: a baseline, which when it's calm, cool, and just relaxed, and then when they get triggered for a PTSD moment, I have them collected again, and then when they have their full-blown PTSD attack. And the way I have them collected is simply sitting like a dental cotton ball in their mouth at each of these times, and I do it over multiple episodes. That way I have a really wide variety of scent to work with.
Okay. Now tell me, I'm looking on your Facebook page and Instagram, and you all were at the Coca-Cola 600 in, was it Charlotte, right? The
Yes, sir.
NASCAR race.
Charlotte Motor Speedway, they were a great host this year. I was actually the hometown hero in 2012 when I was on active duty. And I wrote them and said, hey, this is what I'm doing now. I got a local hero that is going to be presented a dog, and I would love to do it right there at the infield. Something similar that I had. I know what it meant to me. So they were great. They gave us some pretty good VIP passes. They allow us to set up our trailer and everything on site and collect donations, which was a blessing. And yeah, it was a great show. The crowd cheered, and our veteran was just so happy, and he was just a little overwhelmed, but he was just thankful that the community got to see what we were doing for him, and just was able to just enjoy it. He had a really good time at the race and everything.
You have a very robust board, and your wife supports you. What's it like for you all to see this working for the veterans you serve, Keith?
Well, for one, the majority of our board is all military or law enforcement related currently. So that it's another way for them to give back even after their time in their military or their law enforcement. So one thing you'll find in our military and law enforcement, they're givers, they're protectors. That's what they want to do. So when they get out, they want to continue that. So for my board, that's what they love to do. Some guys have some other nonprofits that we've partnered with as well, because they want to help those in need. And then, we're all volunteers, so nobody gets paid. I don't collect a dime, and I train the dogs myself all year long. All my board members are all volunteers as well, and this is all out of the kindness of my heart. Plus, they all have their own PTSD and symptoms from just the years of war.
So that's one thing that I really want to hit on, Keith, is you continue your healing by healing others and having that purpose, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I've done it all. I've done hyperbaric chamber. I've done therapy. I've done, uh, you know, you name it. You say it. I've done it. And honestly, out of everything, I think me helping other veterans and trying to prevent them going through what I had to go through to put me in this position, um, I think that's been the biggest help. It's something that helps inside when you make other people feel good, and when you have spouses come and tell you that their husbands are alive because you told them they were going to get a dog, and that's why I do it. And it just comes from the heart. I love my brothers and of arms, and this is my way of making sure they don't do what I had to go through.
So here's a question that I probably should have asked first, but it's so obvious I didn't even think about it. Is how does Keith meet Keith where you all are? I mean, how's that happen? I mean, nothing is accidental. So how does Keith meet? How's it Keith plus Keith or Keith squared? What's going on here?
Brother. How does a Keith meet a Keith?
It was kind of funny because I seen this trailer, I seen this whole thing, I heard this was coming up. I'm like, wow, this would probably be a good guy to interview for Oscar Mike Radio. So I go up there and I introduce myself and I say my name is Keith. He's like, yep, Keith. And I'm like, I was about to repeat myself, yeah, Keith, and then I realized, oh no, shit, this guy's name is Keith.
Nice.
And we started talking, and one thing led to another, man. And Keith's awesome guy. I really do appreciate him and pulling me in here and then getting you involved.
I've got to say something. He talks about the faith, and people who know me and they watch the booth and they know the show, they know that I have a belief in God, and they know that there are times that I'm torn because there's things that happen that tears at my faith in God. And then sometimes you have things like this that happens, and you say to yourself, you meet this guy, he has the same name, not just the same name, we have the same initials. My last name is Hayes, his last name is Holland, so it's KH.
Yep.
And you say, sometimes things happen for a reason, Travis. Here we are, we're coming off of your show being on C-SPAN last Saturday, live on C-SPAN, a great show, Memorial Day. And while you're on C-SPAN, I meet this guy who's at the Coca-Cola 600, which is the Memorial Day weekend. Like, when you talk about faith and how things, I get a chill sometimes because it's like you feel like it's just destined. It's
things.
What are the chances? Yeah, what are the chances of that just linking up and being so coincidental?
Well, this is the best part about doing Oscar Mike Radio, and this is why I think the faith part of it is something I kind of want to touch on, Keith, is because there's several times in my life and veterans' lives where they're on the abyss, right? They're staring into the abyss, and it's looking pretty good, and some still small voice says, "Hey, not today. Just stay in your fight one more day," and their lives change. And I really believe that is God intervening in that person's life, and I just want that to continue. How can people contact or get in touch with your mission and what you do, and how can we support you, Keith?
So currently, funny you asked, we're here at the Slingshot in the Smokies event right now currently, and we're actually doing a fundraiser. We have a goal of $10,000, and anybody's watching, anybody that wants to send information to their friends, the biggest thing right now to help us get to that goal is, and the easiest way to do that is to text JTFK, the number 9S 2024 to 53555. Donate what you want. You can do reoccurring payments, whatever. The goal is to try to get that to $10,000. Ultimately, we give out 7 dogs last year. We're giving out 9 this year. So every penny of that goes to helping us get those dogs out. You can go check out our website at jtfk9s.org.net.com. I own them all because we're trying to get out there in every way we can. And Facebook, social media, all that good stuff. You can search at JTFK, the number 9 again, and S. And we'd be glad for everybody to follow us, share our content, like us. Hey, we've got new puppies every year, and y'all get to watch them grow up if y'all watch us and follow us.
I want to say thanks to my buddy Brian Roof, Marine Corps veteran, who has his show for the assist there. Thank you, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm on with Keith Holland from Joint Task Force K9s. Really interesting story, really interesting mission focus, and is making changes in people's lives now. Joey Laswell asked, have you thought about expansion at all, Keith?
Funny you asked, and this is kind of why we're here today. My president of my board is out in Las Vegas. He is actually currently in training right now to become a trainer for our program. That way, we're looking at him being fully trained in another year or so, with me kind of overseeing that, and then he'll be able to start giving out 6 dogs himself. So we'll go from 6 to 9 dogs yearly to double that in a matter of a year or so. But the growth for us is we want to grow from within. I want the soldiers that receive these dogs to put their hand up and say, "Hey, I want to do what you're doing, because this is how I got started. I received my service dog first, and I know what it did for me. And I know when a guy or a gal that gets that dog and they raise their hand and say they want to do the same thing, I know where they're coming from. So I know their heart's going to be in it for the right reasons. And so that's how I want to grow that. And that's exactly what my president of my board did. He received a dog from me through another nonprofit that I was helping with their organization. And that's Shadow Warrior Project. He gave him a dog, and I helped with that dog. So, so he said to me, "Hey, I want to train dogs," and that's how we got him started. He'll be opening up 6 dogs coming up in the next year, hopefully, and with you guys' support and following us and helping us out, we can grow that. But we definitely need the funding to do it. It costs us about $150,000 a year to do all the dogs and stuff that goes out. That's all the travel for everybody, the food, the lodging, the vet bills. Nobody in our organization gets paid. We're all free, to include me, and I do all the dogs training. So this is just 100% getting these dogs and to the guys and gals. That's where their money's going.
Well, this is really outstanding. Thanks to Brian Roof for the assist there and getting the text comment. That is text JTFK9s 2024 to 5355. Keith, I'm going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for your time, Keith. I look forward to meeting you in person and working with you more in your mission focus. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. And that's 53555.
Oh, 53555. Okay. Let me correct that, and I'll get that in the chat. Thank you very much.
Sir. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, anytime. And as we say in Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission flight. Keith Holland certainly is. I want to thank Keith Hayes for setting this up. You guys be safe.